So hey tribe, welcome back to the Agent Spotlight series. I'm Mario Dove, and today we're excited to highlight Terrance Clark, standout figure in the real estate investment space and the Revenos Express Offers Manager here at eXp Realty. It's great to have you here, Terrance. Thank you for joining us, brother.
No, thanks for having me, creating the platform. Love to share and collaborate with other agents. So again, I appreciate it.
Hey man, no problem. So Terrance, we're just gonna jump right into it, brother. So you come from a background rich in the real estate tradition as a third generation investor. Can you share a bit about how you got started and what inspired you to continue the family legacy in real estate?
Oh man, it's not as drawn out as it may seem. My grandparents started investing, I will say, in the late '60s. Just growing up, kind of didn't even know that we were in real estate investing, right? It's like one of those things. It's kind of, especially my grandparents are Jamaican, so if anybody who sees this knows anything about Jamaican people, you know they keep things very close to their heart, right?
Right.
I had no idea really the magnitude in which my grandparents were into real estate investing, but my grandfather actually started off as a superintendent in a building, and he got an opportunity to basically turn lemon into lemonade. Took over his first property, and then they just kind of kept building. I would say in the late 2000s, like let's call it 2010s, I'm already in college. You know, I'm moving forward. My mom actually got in a very bad car accident, and that put her out of her day-to-day. We weren't really paying attention to real estate investing as you would think a family who is in real estate investing had been. But
Sure.
my mom, she was in a car accident. She got an opportunity to really, dig deep and really pay attention to what's going on the real estate front. So she became more active into our family portfolio. And then as I got out of college, I ventured into car sales, had done that for 8 to 10 years. Once my mom kind of got into it doing the day-to-day, I knew that there would be some point in time, especially because I was interested in real estate, your knowledge of how like money works, how the world financially and economically works.
Right.
You just realize like, oh wait, this is a great segue into financial freedom. Long story short, got some time in the car business, got my sales knowledge up, and opportunity came for me, right? I moved to North Carolina where we had just 1031 exchange, so moving some assets out of New York, and had an opportunity to go into North Carolina.
You got the bug. That 1031 exchange, you're speaking all the language, so you're definitely versed in this field. Congratulations, to you and the family and grandpops for having that insight, setting the foundation.
Super appreciative of them. They're very humble and hardworking people. Like I said, they came from Jamaica. My grandfather has a crazy story in terms of just like traveling. My mom was actually born on a boat, and she was born on a boat traveling from Jamaica. My grandparents were to England, and she had been born on that boat in
Wow.
transition. So they're just humble people. They come from humble beginnings, and so just it's a blessing to be here today to take what they have laid, that foundation, and hopefully to take it to even another level.
Absolutely. Going through my notes, it says that you successfully manage or control over 200 doors yourself. That's a testament to your expertise and the strategic acumen. So for our viewers who are navigating or considering the investment side of real estate, could you delve into your strategies and approach to maintaining such a substantial portfolio?
We've been privileged to time in real estate and patience. I go back to my grandparents. They are people that before all the things became trendy in terms of buy a property for a bill, buy a property to do this, that never was the play that my grandparents made. It always was about the next generation and the generation after. My grandfather was really hands-on. He's again was a super, so he did a lot of the maintenance, the hands-on day-to-day. And my grandmother, she pretty much was like the financier, right? So she leveraged her day-to-day income to be able to qualify for more property. So many people miss, right? The banks require me to have steady income, so I'm going to leverage the steady income and continue to buy. The first property that they ever purchased was a single family, really was a multifamily, a small multifamily that can qualify for single family financing.
Right.
Bought a fourplex and kind of just snowballed from there. It just wasn't making sense to me, right? You start to like learn some of the math. You start to see like, how to underwrite a deal. What does a return on investment look like? My grandfather passed in 19 1996. My grandmother worked all the way up until the last day, right? She retired, and she just wasn't coming from Jamaica with a 6th, 7th grade education. They just knew that buying property was smart, but didn't really know, again, what they were actually doing. It just wasn't making sense. It wasn't making sense that they had invested, from the 60s. We were at this point and things seemed tight. My grandparents were ones that kept trading up, right? So from a 4 family to an 8 family to an 8 family to a 16 family. So they, started their real estate investing in Brooklyn, New York. In a market where there's a lot of appreciation, heavy appreciation, they were beneficiaries of time and that appreciation. So they traded up multiple times. And again, it just did not make sense to me. You put 40 years into this, and I just think it's like, wow, we're, to have the assets, to have held these things for the time, like, I really think we should be further along than, what are the numbers, right? Let's dive back to the numbers. So, it didn't make sense. She played for Lincoln University in Lincoln, PA. We were coming to Charlotte for the CIAA tournament. We just noticed like the feel of North Carolina, right? Like the people, right? The way that people engage.
Right.
That, along with the tenant and landlord laws, right? The landlord friendliness in North Carolina. We just decided that it may be good to look into an area like North Carolina. Lo and behold, we found an opportunity, which I would say is a foundation of our actual strategy. So our strategy is value add. We really are not looking for those B plus A properties, just meaning, we want to be the ones putting in the work. We don't want to take on someone else's work, because what we found is most 9 times out of 10, it's not to our liking or to our standards. So why pay a premium for someone else to have to even still come in and do different fixes and things like that. So we really specialize on value add properties. And I'd say over the last 3 years, we've kind of pivoted from those multifamily assets to now really focusing on those single family residential houses. So just your normal everyday homes, and focusing also on turning our tenants to homeowners. I would consider us impact investors. So we're not only looking at the returns in terms of like per property, we're looking at the community, right? Like, how can we improve the community by making an investment into real estate?
That was a very key point that you bring up there. Geographically, opportunities are going to look different. Charlotte, it is a big city, but it's not New York. What makes sense in New York might not make sense in Charlotte. What makes sense in Charlotte might not make sense in New York. So, good on you guys for, getting there and doing your due diligence and figuring that piece out. Kudos for you.
New York real estate will make you do that, right? Like if anybody watching this that's from New York, you guys know exactly what I'm saying is like, and if you can learn how to operate in New York, you can almost learn how to operate anywhere. Like, I don't know if there's anywhere in the country, maybe California is a close second, where you have people who are professionals at leveraging everything they know about the law in their best benefit. When, it is what it is, but great learning experience for sure. Great place to start, and then, get into North Carolina where it's a little bit more relaxed.
As the manager at Express Offers, you're at the forefront of a unique platform in the real estate market. Can you explain how Express Offers work, and how it benefits can provide our, both investors and everyday home sellers?
Great question, right? Is Express Offers, there's actually 3 clients that we have in Express Offers. So you mentioned the homeowners, you mentioned the investors, but I want to start with the agents.
Sure.
Agents really are what make the platform go round. And so from an agent's perspective, what you get is a bulletproof value proposition, especially given the climate that we're in today, right? Like, to be able to essentially talk to any homeowner and say, if you're interested in selling, I may have a buyer for you. Like, that's a very strong value proposition. So our agents do get that as a part of Express Offer. We're tweaking our process to make it even easier. I know the last couple of years, just learning, right? Going through, we're a huge company. You start to look back and trying to figure out, like, why were we doing certain things that we were doing? And it is because we're a really large company and really wanted to make sure that we're protecting not only just our agents, but our business as well. We're working on a streamlined process, but essentially for you, you're able to prospect in a way that allows your seller to have at least the option of convenience. I believe in a progressive journey. So from A to Z, we start with the cash offer as point A, just because is the least expensive way to sell a home, in terms of commission, fixing up, repairs, the time invested.
Yeah.
And so I believe in starting with this as your entry and then moving on to different options. Homeowner gets convenience, certainty. You don't have to stage, don't have to do repairs. May not be the exact price that you were thinking, but we do, through training, help to try to explain what those offers are really saying. For the investors, you get essentially a lead source that is a pay for execution, right? We're not charging you any monthly fees. There's no setup costs, but you pay for when you actually do a transaction. And so that type of approach makes it a little bit easier for your underwriting. And then
Sure.
you get the access and the network of EXP agents, right? We don't charge per buy box. You can set up a buy box in any city, state in America and basically have boots on the ground the moment that you create those buy boxes. So those are the three people that we serve, and think it's a unique platform just because there has been a lot of companies that have tried to figure out how to work this niche, and I think we're doing a good job of just staying afloat, right? Just figuring out how to stay nimble and stay relevant while the industry consistently changes.
Right.
But yeah, we give agents this proprietary platform that's proprietary to an EXP agent, and still working on ways to help you collaborate and even attract agents outside, but it's unique to you, and I feel like that's super strong.
Yeah, it's an incredible platform, and over the last couple of years, definitely a lot of progress, metamorphosis, if you will. It's changing as time goes along. Speak to bringing in Open Door and some other partners along the way to grow that investor space, that iBuyer space, to make those deals more competitive and readily available. So it's I definitely use it as part of my listing presentation. So kudos, and we definitely appreciate all the hard work that's going on behind the scenes on that.
Yeah, and anybody who's watching this that's familiar with Express Offers, if you haven't seen Express Offers since February 27th, it's definitely a great time to go back in and just take a look at what we're doing. We did integrate with Open Door, and some agents there's been some pushback on it, right? It's like, well, why are we doing that? It's not, agents or sellers are not able to get multiple offers, when the way in which the feedback comes from Open Door, the speed in which the feedback comes within Open Door, if you are an agent just presenting the offers as they come in, as quick as they come in, nothing really should change besides the fact that you actually have to give Open Door feedback, right? So
right.
I like to just set that part of it clear, just so agents know that we're still trying to deliver on multiple cash offers, but do want to make sure that when a company as large as Open Door comes and says, how can we collaborate to give options to your agents and their homeowner prospects, it just was a no-brainer. They're in the most amount of markets. Data says that they're making some strong offers in a lot of the markets. So we want to just make sure that the agents can get that feedback, right? Get it in a way that helps them move forward. What we find is no matter if it's Open Door or another investor, that's still 95% of people will still list traditionally. But
sure.
It doesn't hurt that when someone raises their hand for a cash offer, for our agents to be able to deliver on that.
Absolutely, and that's the value proposition right there. That's the value proposition. Continuing on, right? So investing can seem daunting to many getting started. What foundational advice would you give to our viewers, particularly Black agents and investors, or who are looking to make their mark in the investment space?
Express Offers, right? So when I talk about a progressive journey, I talked about it earlier from a seller's perspective, getting from A to Z on the sales process. But for an agent, for someone who wants to learn how to work with investors, there's probably not a better platform than Express Offers to do that, right? You get a chance as an agent to learn and experience, actually get paid learning, right? I'm a college grad, so I paid to go to school and get educated, where Express Offers is a progressive journey for an agent to come in, find out what investors are looking for, how they underwrite deals, how to talk to sellers, how to present offers, You get all of that type of training within Express Offers. But for any agent, right, investment real estate seems like it's advanced strategy. If you can pass the math to get your real estate license, right, then this should be kind of almost where you start.
Absolutely.
It's backwards the way that we learn as agents. We're learned to go out and help, everyone buy and sell homes, but when you look at it, there would not be any homes to buy or sell if there wasn't an investor that said, hey, you know what? It'd be a good idea for me to build some single family houses in this area, right? Don't look at it as an advanced strategy. Look at it as like your foundation. If you can understand, again, the math that you did to get the license, then you can understand the math that the investors are using to look at different opportunities. Yeah. And then once you can understand that and practice understanding it, maybe even practice explaining it to someone else, it's only going to make you a stronger agent to the general public, right? It's only going to help you explain, why they may need to do certain things to a house, why a certain house may sit on the market for a certain period of time if we don't make, price and value meet. Don't look at it as daunting. Don't look at it as advanced. Approach this as like your 101. Approach this as like one of the first things you want to learn. And it's actually super ironic because the amount of agents that I've talked to who respond to the question, why did you get your real estate license to invest, right? I can't tell you how many times I've heard that answer. Well, I wanted to invest in real estate, but because we're doing the everyday rigors of helping people buy and sell, we kind of lose sight of that, right? We lose sight of how to go about attacking that goal. And I don't think there's a better way to attack that goal than to work with investors, right? Again, to just build that solid education and that knowledge base. So get in collaboration with Express Offers with other agents who specialize in this. And again, I think most will find that it's not advanced. It's not a goal.
Absolutely. It's a fundamental. The playoffs are on right now. It's like dribbling and passing, right? If you understand the math, you understand how to put the deal together, right? It definitely make you a better agent. So it's investing. It seems like it's higher level, but take the time and do that due diligence, get that education, and get that experience, and you'll definitely be in a different place with your business.
For sure.
So with your finger on the pulse of the market dynamics, where do you see opportunities evolving for Black real estate professionals? Are there any emerging trends our community should be preparing for?
Man, that's such a great question. Actually, and I don't know how much I'll say, but like I read that question prior to jumping on here with you, and it was one where I was like, man, how am I going to attack this question, right? But without sounding repetitive.
Sure. Yeah.
Again, trends, right? When you're looking at the market right now, you hear a lot about the rates. What is it doing to affect the buyers? How do we represent buyers? How do we add value to buyers? This is why you work with investors, right? Because I can assure you, no matter what was going on with rates in the last 6 months, I still underwrote deals. I still made offers on properties, right? So like, even though I may not have closed as many as I would like as an investor, I still had to figure out how to be nimble and how to, make it work. And I'd say a lot of the buyers on Express Offers do the same. And I can certainly tell you Open Door is doing the same. Maybe their offers aren't as aggressive in certain areas, but they're still making offers as an investor. So if you're looking during chaos of where to be, trends, the trend is to work with people who need you, and investors, they need you. The type of properties that investors can buy regularly, right? The people where you're going to convert, meaning these people actually are attracted and need the value propositions of that speed, that certainty, that convenience. Those are people that in a market like this where there's chaos, that's a little bit of certainty, right? That there's going to be people who are going through foreclosures. There's going to be people who are passing away. There's going to be divorce. Those are all people who they're probably going to be attracted at least for the convenience of a cash offer for you to have a conversation.
That's a great conversation to have with those people.
Right. Yeah. And I read that, you specialize in a lot of these distress. So, even when the market changes, even when there's, factors that we can't control in the market, those people are always going to need help, and investors are always going to be looking for properties. Granted, the last couple of years, I would say, kudos to Mark Woodling, my direct manager over in Institutional Investment Services. They've, taken the trends and figured out that the large investors are really looking to reposition their, let's call it like books, right? So in a mode where they're doing a lot of selling. But at the end of the day, business is moving. So somebody is selling, other investors are buying. And so if you can figure out how to have these conversations, where to go to get around, investors, or even how do you have to have conversations with the people who need you, those distressed homeowners. Those are trends that I would say they're more than trends. They're foundational pieces to your business in any market, no matter if it's a buyer's or seller's market. I think if you get really good at that foundational stuff, you'll always be in business, no matter
Absolutely. What. Absolutely. We're bringing that inventory back to the market, right? That's a foundational piece of what we do. So, Terrance, I'm gonna have to put you on the spot again, man. One of our favorite topics, fair housing and minority home ownership. So given your extensive background in real estate investment and your current role at managing Express Offers, how do you see Express Offers aligning with the goals of fair housing and expanding home ownership opportunities?
I think it's all about education, right? At the end of the day, when we look at some of the data, let's say like NAR data, for instance, when you look at the buyer profile, so many buyer profiles are not catering to the properties that may need a little bit of elbow grease, right? May need a little bit of work. So as an agent who's attacking fair housing, we have to be able to position these properties as opportunities as opposed to more work or more elbow grease. We need to show people why these properties are valuable, right? Why still, no matter what, investors are still wanting to buy these properties.
Absolutely.
I think that's things like your 203K loans, right? You're learning maybe different strategies, creative financing, all different ways to acquire a property. I think that's where we need to go for fair housing. I think when you look at trying to level the field in terms of that ownership number, right? That share that we're looking at, I think it's showing that properties are a good opportunity, even if they aren't what you can see. They're not what you would want to move into today.
Right.
One of my favorite stories is the last one that we bought. I guess it's not my favorite story, but I guess a recent story is, we look at a property that's on the MLS. It was advertised to a homeowner and to somebody who would occupy the home, but nobody, you see that opportunity is like, oh, well, I got to do the floors, the carpet. It doesn't have granite. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have that. And that the everyday home buyer is not interested. Whereas though I purchased that property for $60,000. I put $70,000 into it. It's worth $240,000 in less than a year. So
congratulations.
There are opportunities where, we start to level the playing field there. Somebody's going to be living there. So you could make it what you want for 3 years, and now you have your first rental, or now you have your first flip, right? We have to start trying to show the end goal to those different buyer types so that they can also grow. I mentioned it earlier. It's like we really focus now on like community impact. It's the properties that we are fixing and flipping, we don't necessarily the most money on. We actually strategically try to leverage those properties for a first-time home buyer. We have in Hickory, where I'm mostly stationed, 45% of our portfolio is here. And so we have a good sizable amount of tenants that if I could change to help a tenant it's a win for me. First-time home buyers not necessarily only competing with investors, with the downsizers and people who are moving to be closer to family. So we're just trying to do our best to route the inventory to the people who need it most.
Or bring that inventory back to the market. My favorite question, brother. So looking ahead, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Are there any particular goals or new ventures you're aiming to achieve in the real estate sector?
I work a lot on our portfolio side. It's a family business. Goal there really is to help the people who we are with on the family side really step into who they are as people. Strong eye when it comes to marketing. She's really good at what she does. I would just love to put her in a space where she could do that for our company, right? Where this is her role. My brother has continuously gotten his hands-on skills, like to help him elevate himself to take on a role bigger than where he's at in the company. My personal goals, helping other people be great versions of themselves. I'm a sports guy, and basketball is my drug of choice when it comes to sports. And I'm a point guard, right? I'm a point guard. I've been a captain. I want to say of like 85% of the teams I've ever played on, and so I've just gotten really good at coming together for a common goal without having to be like the focal point or the star, right? I'm perfectly fine with being Derek Fisher with the same amount of rings as Kobe, right? I'm perfectly fine with that. in this role, Express Offers, right? So this is one of the things that I think is set up for really where I want to go on a personal level. I think this is an entryway for me to really make a name for myself in terms of this niche and working with some of the larger players that are in this space. I think the way that Express Offers is set up today, it's only set up for it to do well in terms of just making the correct changes. So hoping in the next 5 years that there's not too many people that, especially in the EXP world, that don't know who Express Offers is and then don't know who I am in terms of being just a resource that can help them through it. So if we can get to a point where Express Offers is the point of contact for these larger institutions and investors, and then is the go-to tool for our agents, then I think I would consider that a success.
All right, I love it, man. I love it. Love every bit of it. So I'm gonna go back a little bit. It is truly a family business. Everybody's in.
I'll put it this way, right? It's like my grandparents had 3 daughters. 2 of them kind of do their own thing. They're not really involved in the day-to-day, but when it comes to like the major decisions, buy, sell type of things, they definitely have a little bit of input and insight.
That's all right.
My brother, me, and a cousin, we do a lot of like the day-to-day stuff. I'm more like your acquisitions number guy. I can find a deal. I have no problem picking up a phone. My
point
brother,
guard.
right, and my brother and cousin, they're more on like your day-to-day, like property management type of deal. So they're showing properties, they're doing any work orders they can, and working with the different vendors to manage the tenants and the vendors. That's pretty much it in terms of the family aspect.
That's outstanding. Love to hear it. Love to see it, brother. Love to see it. So Terrance, your insights today have been incredibly valuable. For those interested in learning more about Express Offers or wishing to connect with you, how can they reach out?
If you're an EXP agent, Workplace is always the best way to get me. My cell phone and email is both connected. So if you get stuck and maybe I don't respond as quickly as you need, call my cell phone. I'm pretty good at answering it, but Workplace is the best place to contact. And if you're somewhere else, then just look me up. Most of my names are connected to my accounts. It should be fairly easy to find.
Awesome, brother. Thank you for sharing your journey and your insights with us, Terrance. And we are on YouTube. So to anyone wishing, anyone watching, and remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to keep up with more inspiring stories and expert advice from leaders like Terrance. Check out our other videos and more resources tailored to elevate your career in real estate. Keep thriving. Catch you on the next spotlight. Thanks, bro. I really appreciate it, man.